Hey guys, it's FatherStack here, and I'm here with a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to do a ranking of a box set I've got. So I'll be doing like a worst to best. So there's 4 films in this box set. And obviously the one I like the least will be at the bottom, the one I like the best will be at the top, as these kind of things work. So this is quite new to me. It's a franchise that is it's a very popular franchise. It's a very mainstream franchise. It's kind of different from what I usually talk about, which I thought this was quite interesting to do. It's what can I say? It's I can't think of the wording. Anyway, yeah, I was going to say, this is pretty new to me. I've only, before checking this box set out, I'd only seen one of the films. So 3 of them are completely new to me. And I think it's one of these kind of franchises where it doesn't matter who you are, you'll have a different list. You know, everybody has a different list. This is my list. And you might disagree with me, you might agree with me. But I don't know what people usually think of these films. Like, I don't know which one people regard as the best or which people regard as the worst. But this is my opinion, having seen them quite for the first time. Well, all except one. So, this is the Indiana Jones complete collection, going from Raiders of the Lost Ark all the way to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So, without further ado, at the bottom, this will probably piss some people off. It's not intentional, but this is how I feel about this film. At the bottom is Temple of Doom. This is the sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, the second film in this quadrilogy. And I've got kind of big problems with this one. Most of all, it doesn't feel like a sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I will talk about obviously further up the list. Problems with this film, right, I'll go with the positives first. It looks great. There are some scenes that are really, really good. Like when the ceiling's coming in. Really, really good scene. The minecart chase scene towards the end, great scene. Really, really, really good. I do quite like the darkness of it. I think the darkness of it kind of, I don't know, I kind of like that. Like the scene where he rips the guy's heart out and everything. That's quite good. And Short Round, I love Short Round in it. He's a great sidekick. He's a lot of fun. But now I'm going to get on to the cons. The number one con, if you've seen this film, you'll know where I'm coming from. It's Willie Scott, isn't it? She is probably one of the most annoying characters I've ever seen in a film or heard in a film. It's just like, it doesn't matter which scene she's in, she screams and she shouts and complains, and compared to Marion from the first film, which I'll talk about later on, it's just, I mean, you don't want a carbon copy of, a previous sidekick, you don't want that, but I mean, it's just whining all the time about she whines about bugs, she whines about breaking her fingernails, she whines all the time, screaming and shouting, and it really, really bugged me to the point where I was like, I found it hard to enjoy this film. Another con would be Indy himself. He just doesn't seem like Indy. There are a couple of times where you get the sarky comment here and there, the kind of sarcastic comment, and that works. But most of the time, he comes across as like a womanizer almost. Whereas in Raiders, he's not afraid of women, but it's like it's kind of new to him. It's like, I don't know. I found it, there is a difference in his character that I don't know. I just didn't quite feel right. Going back to the scene with Willie Scott. There's a scene where Indy and Short Round, I think they're playing cards. They're playing cards and they're fighting about who's cheating. And then Willie Scott, she bumps into like I think an elephant. And she says, "I got an elephant!" And she bumps into a monkey. "Ah, monkey!" And she bumps into a snake. "Ah!" And it just goes back and forth like a pinball machine. Just her bumping into an animal and screaming and screaming and screaming. I should have mentioned that earlier, but that's just something that popped in my head there that bugged me. But it was quite funny with the snake, which she keeps on thinking it's an elephant's trunk. That was genuinely funny. Another thing, the story's just not interesting to me. I felt bored watching this, even though it's a film that it almost doesn't stop for a second. Almost to the point where you don't get to know the characters. You don't really get to feel the relationship between Willie and Indy. It's just, I find it kind of jarring. It's just, I do like the pace of it, but at the same time, the story was uninteresting to me, and I didn't get invested in it like I did with like some of the other films. It's just, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, but I felt, I don't want to say boring, because I wouldn't say it's a boring film. I wouldn't even call it a bad film. I think it's a decent adventure film. It's just, in my opinion, it's a bad Indiana Jones film. It's, I don't know, I didn't like this one very much. It's a poor follow up, and it's meant to be a prequel. Yet in Raiders, he says he doesn't believe in magic and stuff. Yet there's some of the stuff that he sees in Temple of Doom, how he doesn't end up convinced that magic exists in this universe. I don't get that. That to me, that doesn't work as a prequel. Willie Scott is. Who's it that plays Kate Capshaw, is it? She's married to Steven Spielberg. She is gorgeous in this film. She is absolutely beautiful, I can't ever take that away from her. She is, honestly, she's beautiful. And I don't know whether my problems with her are in her acting skills, the directing or the writing. Maybe it's a mesh of all three. But yeah, for the reasons I've stated, this is at the bottom of the list. Right, number 3 is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I could probably hear a lot of people saying, "What, you didn't put this one last? But this was the most recent one." Yeah, it's the most recent one, but I enjoyed the hell out of this. I think this is a lot of fun, this film. I'm going to go again with the problems got with this film. Why isn't this film, if I like this film so much, why isn't it higher? And it's one thing mostly, isn't it? It's the CGI. If you've seen this film, you'll know what I mean. It starts with like a gopher coming out of the ground and it looks like a cartoon. And I can say that with all the CG in this film. I'm big on practical effects over CGI. The thing that annoys me most about this film is that Steven Spielberg has worked with CGI before. Like in AI and Jurassic Park and numerous other films, and he's worked well with it because he integrates it with like animatronics, like with Jurassic Park. I mean, he balances the two out. There's some shots in Jurassic Park that, yeah, okay, that looks like a CGI dinosaur, but it doesn't bother me too much. In this, it stands out like a cartoon, and it's so, it really almost takes you out of it. There's a scene that I really liked in it where, what was her name? Is it Arania or something? The Kate Blanchett character, who I really like as a character. I think she's a really interesting villain. She has a lot of fun in it, and she's smoking hot. She's beautiful, even though she's quite scary in this. I feel a threat of her as a villain, which going back to Temple of Doom. I can't remember a fucking thing about that villain. It's just. But whereas with Kate Blanchett's character, like she comes out as quite imposing. There's the scene where her and Mutt, played by Shia LaBeouf, they're doing like this fencing thing, and the two trucks are moving through the jungle, and it's a great scene. Those two are fencing, and the jungle's going, but the jungle itself just looks like a cartoon. It's just all CGI leaves, and it just looks so obvious. Even though I like the action that's going on, everything around them just looks fake as fuck, and I don't like it. It's just. It's really bad during the ending scene where everything's caving in. It's just like, again, it just looks like a cartoon collapsing around them, and it's just, I hated it. I hated the CGI in the film. I hated it. Some of the worst CGI I've ever seen post 2000s. You know, this is what 2008. Steven Spielberg, you should know better. But I have way more positives to say about this film. I love the action in this film. I think it's really fun. It never, you know, it's really exciting. It's really funny at times as well. It's got that the thing that was missing quite a bit in Temple of Doom. I don't think the humour seemed forced in that film. The humour in this doesn't seem forced. I love the scene where they're stuck in the quicksand. Marion and Indy, they're stuck in the quicksand and they're calling for help. And Shia LaBeouf has to throw the rope, but the rope's a snake. He doesn't want to grab the snake. That's hilarious. I found that really, really funny. The action scenes in this are great. I love the look of the crystal skull itself. Before I saw this film, I had an idea of what, you know, the crystal skull, and I just thought it's a human skull, you know, like a crystal skull. I got like a crystal version of this, you know. That's a glass brandy decanter, but you know, I was thinking something like that. But no, this is a fucking alien head. A big, long, elongated alien head, and it's great. I love the look of it. I don't care for. I know I'm going in between pros and cons just now, but it's just things that are popping in my head as I'm thinking. I don't really care for John Hurt's character or Ray Winston's character. I could do without them. I do like both of them as actors, and they do decent jobs in this. There's nothing to do with them as actors. I just really didn't care for their characters. And back to the pros. I really like Shia LaBeouf in this. I think he's a lot of fun. He's not he's one of the main characters, but he doesn't get in the way of anything. People shit on him. This is actually the first time I've ever seen him in. So I don't watch that many like super modern films. I've never like seen a Marvel film or that, so I'm not really up to date with like a lot of the current actors. So this was the first film I saw him in, and he's perfectly fine. He's got some good one-liners in that. It's great seeing Karen Allen back from the first film. She's obviously 30, 40 years older, but she's still got that kind of look in her eye. She's still got that smile. She's still got that. She's still got the humour, and she's still got that back and forth with Indy, and it really, really works for me. Like I say, I love the villain, and I think the villain's really fun. The action scenes are great. It gets a little bit convoluted in that towards the end. The last 20 minutes I do kind of lose interest in the plot, but like the whole, you know, it's like the crystal skull, you know, brainwashes people, and you know, the Nazis, it's not the Nazis this time, it's the Russians are trying to get this crystal skull, and you know, but all in all, I found this really fun. I think it's a really good follow-up to The Last Crusade, and yeah, it's number 3 on my list just because I really don't like the CGI. I really don't care for it. Right, number 2 is Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. This is the follow-up that Temple of Doom should have been. This is the sequel that it should have been. It is like Indiana Jones 2. It is like Raiders of the Lost Ark 2. It's got the same fun, it's got the same energy. I loved the unfortunately named Alison Doody as Elsa. She's really good. The little twists I've got with her and that, they really, really work for me. Julian Glover as Donovan. He's a really good bad guy, you know. He's really fun. Again, that's what I'm going on about. It's like these villains are always good. I didn't like the villain in Temple of Doom. He's completely forgettable. I actually struggle right now to think what a villain's like. Whereas Donovan comes across as quite a nice guy at first, and then the tables turn and he's just this greedy kind of Nazi guy. It's great. He's not actually a Nazi, but he's kind of working with him. Sean Connery as Harrison Ford's dad. The best casting you can possibly get. He's only like 12 years older than him, but for some reason looks like 30 years older than him. They've got that great back and forth. They're really funny together, especially when they're tied to the chair and they're trying to break free from the rope. And I think Elsa says something to Indy. He says, "Oh, yes, I'll never Something about our other night in the bed was fantastic, and Kisses Indie, and then the Dr. Jones, Sean Connery says, "Yes, it was rather fantastic, wasn't it?" And like, it's really fun. I love the humour of this film. The adventure's back. It's a little bit more straightforward than Raiders. It is a bit more, not ordinary. I mean, it's still got that part at the end with the Holy Grail and everything going through the traps. That's still there. The horrific imagery is still there. When I say horrific imagery, I mean like in this fantastical Indiana Jones kind of way. It's I suppose if you're a kid watching it, yeah, this would be quite scary. Like when the guy ages backwards, but I like seeing him go through all these traps after, his dad's been shot and he's trying to save his life. It's really, really good. There aren't that many things I don't like about this film. This was actually a hard one to put, in second place. It's like, because I like both of these films equally. I love the part where they're in the blimp, and he thinks there's a Nazi after them. So he dresses as like a member of staff on the blimp. And he catches the guy, and he ends up throwing him out the blimp. No ticket. And everybody's like that, away from their tickets out, because like he's throwing them overboard. That's really funny. There's a lot of really funny stuff in this. A lot of adventure, and there's a lot of moments where they just sit back and they discuss, their lives to each other. He's like, well, why don't we talk anymore, Dad? He goes, what is it to talk about? And there is just these quiet moments where you get to know these characters, why they're a little bit estranged, and it's something, I always go back to it, but it's something that you don't get in Temple of Doom. It's too busy just going, which is usually good in films, but I mean, in that film it's boring, whereas this film gives you a chance to kind of breathe and get to know the characters, and it's fantastic. I love it. I love the ending. The end's one of the best endings to a film you could get, where they're, riding off into the sunset, and it's just, how he got his name, and it's just, this film is just fantastic. Again, I love the part in the tank. The part in the tank was amazing. It's just, you can tell how some of it's done. You can tell this part's like real projection, and here he is in a model. You can tell all that, but it's so much fun. And these films are they're based on like old action books, adventure books, and comic books from like the 50s and that. So when people talk about Indiana Jones 4, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I jumped the shark when he was the A-bomb hit and he decided to hide in a lead-lined fridge. I was like, yeah, but all these films do that, It's like, because Last Crusade's got a guy's fist melting, got a guy aging backwards, no, a guy aging forward, sorry, until he turns into dust, Temple of Doom is a guy's heart being ripped out. It's like, you're moaning about a guy hiding in a fridge from a nuclear bomb. That added to the comedy for me. I thought that scene was hilarious. Although going back to that film, the part where he swings in the trees with the monkeys, okay, yeah, that was a bit ridiculous. And there are a lot of ridiculous scenes in all these films, but that's part of the fun. Yeah, so I really like that film. I love Last Crusade. It just makes number two. It just. But number one, obviously Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is. Oh my god, this film is amazing. When I watched this was the only film I'd seen before checking this box set out. This film has everything. It never stops. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but that's why I was complaining about Temple of Doom. But what I mean is, it's just, it's like from the start where they go through the cave with Alfred Molina, where he's covered in the spiders. He's that famous scene where he's got the bag of sand to try and swap it for the idol. Brilliant. You got the boulder chasing them. And that's all. The first 15 minutes of this film is just phenomenal. It's been spoofed. The music in this film as well is just. I got to say, I don't have any I don't have any cons about this film that I can think of. I love everything about this. The comedy is perfect. You know, these films aren't comedies, but they've got really good senses of humour. You know, it's just Karen Allen. You know, the first time you see her, one of the best introductions in movie history. She's just walking back these like tequila shots against this big fucking bulky, you know, mercenary guy. He's drinking him under the table, and then it's his turn. He's like, phew, and he just falls over, and then she's the victory. It's like, yeah, she drunk him under the table, but it actually adds to the story later on when she's drinking with Belloc, you know. It's not just like, oh yeah, she's one of the lads. No, it actually adds to the story. It adds to her character, and she's really funny in it. She's hilarious in it. She's a lot of fun, Karen Allen, in the song. She's really, really good. Again, it's just gorgeous as well. She's something else in the song. You can understand why Indy's going for her. Yeah, there's so many scenes in this, you know. It's like, you know, you've got the Ark of the Covenant, you've got the Nazis, and there's a part I like, it's in the scene where she's drinking with Belloc, that creepy Nazi guy, the guy, you know the guy with the hat, he brings out this big thing, it looks like a nunchuck, and he just takes off his coat and uses it as a coat hanger. That's a really funny scene. There's a part where they go into this tomb, and the part with you know, all the snakes, and I hate snakes, and there's a part I think she goes to light it on fire, and then she ends up lighting him on fire. That's really, really funny. Where they're on top of the statue down, and it's just, you know, the adventure in this film. It's a very adventurous film. It never stop. It does stop. What I mean is the part where, one of my favourite parts, again, talking to like chilled out scenes where it does take a break from the action and you're able to just, you know the characters, is the scene with Belloc and Indy, where they're in that restaurant, in that little pub. You know, it's one of my favourite scenes of the 80s. Probably one of my favourite scenes in action films. It's just, you know, these two guys don't like each other. They've got like almost a mutual respect for each other, and that is just, it's fantastic. I say, when the action scenes do happen, they don't stop. That's what I meant to say. It's like, when the action scenes are happening, they don't let up. They're very exciting. It's just, this film's unforgettable. You know, there's the part where he's got like the big rocket launcher thing, and the music. Oh my god, the music! And I love the theme. It's like the love theme, you know, between Marion and Indy, and you hear it again, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you know, it's like their theme. I loved hearing that again. But my favourite theme in this film is, it's like the Ark of the Covenant theme, you know, the one. It's so creepy, it's so almost oppressive. You get goosebumps. It's just one of my favourite themes in films. It just gives me goosebumps. It's amazing. I love this film. Like I say, this isn't the franchise I've seen a lot. I've seen Raiders, I think once, twice before, maybe buy the box set. So it's still a fantastic film. It is my favourite of the franchise. Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's a really good box set. I've not watched any special features, but 3 out of 4 films, can't complain. So I'm through talking about that and gushing. But let me know what your rankings are. You know, you might call me an idiot because I put, you know, Temple of Doom last. If you put Temple of Doom first, let me know why. In fact, if you like Temple of Doom yet understand why I don't like it, let me know. Let me know what your rankings are and why you know, why you might disagree with me. But if, to each their own opinions, I respect everybody's opinion. Whether or not you agree with me, it doesn't matter, it's your opinion, you know. But I'm always up for discussing it. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed these films, for the most part. Not so much Temple of Doom. Yeah, it's like, there was a part in Temple of Doom where they're lowering Willie Scott and like the lava. Like, I wish they would have just fucking dropped it in. Just get rid of her. I wouldn't have shed a tear. But overall, great films. Hopefully you liked this video. If you want me to do more of these, then let me know and I'll Let me know in the comments, and I'll probably do another franchise ranking. You know, that's if it's not like, you know, 50 films long. But I hope you liked the video. Hopefully you liked this kind of change the style I've done. I do have some reviews in mind. It's finding the time. There are a lot of films I've watched recently, and I was thinking of maybe on my next day off just making them all in one long video and then just cutting them up and then releasing them when I can, because that would be easier for me than making, you know, a video a day, you know. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, and I've got a big box set that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and the reason I haven't made a video on it yet is because the video itself is going to take about 2 hours to record, and it's going to take about probably 2 days to edit. So when I can get around to making that video, there's one subscriber that knows what it is. Yeah, I will get it up. And like I say, there should be a couple of reviews coming soon. But I don't stick to deadlines anymore. I don't say there's going to be one next week, because I can never judge when I'm going to be able to make one. So hopefully you like the video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. See yous.